Welcome to Actual Scale Modelling. This is part 16 of Italeri Operation Silver Bayonet. Scale is 1 to 72. In this part 16, I'm carrying on with the base work of the diorama. So if you haven't watched the other parts, if you go back, I know there's a lot of videos to get through. It's all leading up to this point of placing in all the furniture on the diorama. So let's jump into this and see how well I get on. So in part 15, I ended up placing all the trays on to the diorama before that I done the ground coverage. So this is what I'm doing on this section of the board. So it's exactly the same way of doing things, just a slightly different configuration. So as you can see there, I'm putting down the larger clumps down first of all. On the board, then I will cover it with the grasses and things like that. Now, the reason why I'm doing it slightly different this way is because of it's all to do with the way it lands on the board. Because you're mixing up the different processes, it will look different. If you do it the same way all the time, it will end up looking the same. So if you change how you're doing things even slightly, it will, even though it's the same diorama, you'll see that different change in pattern and textures. Now, as you can see on this particular section, it's only part of the board that's going to be having the grasses and the foliage on it. This is because the other part just underneath my arm, that is going to be the dirt track road. And what I'm doing here at the moment is I'm just building up the area around where the pooled water is. I'm just giving it more depth of field, so adding in the dark foliage clusters just around it. And they're all attached with using PVA glue, I should add. When it comes to the road itself, right on the edge of it, I'm putting down some wood chippings or bark chippings. These are very fine little shavings really, and I'm just sprinkling them on to create similar to a grass verge. So the idea is to have the dense foliage starting to peter out near the end of the dirt road. And then once that's on, I can actually now fit the bridge itself. Now I'm using a bit of super glue here, and if you have watched the previous parts, you would have heard me explain that this bridge is an actual old placement mat, table placement mat that I've just cut down to size. It's made of bamboo, and it's ideal to create a slatted bridge. And then I'm just going to go around the diorama. I've got these little individual tough grasses. They come with self-adhesive backing. They're all on a sheet of paper. They're quite small. You'll need tweezers to place them on, and they can stick everywhere if you're not careful. But they just add foliage to your ground, and it helps break up any rough edges as well. Hence why I'm putting them around the bank of the river. And of course, it all adds to the different types of foliage that you would see. So it's not just one colour, one texture. You're adding all these different layers just to bring everything up, so it looks more like a natural setting. Let's on to the next board here, and I've got some masking tape, and I'm just placing it down. I'm just marking it down where the houses are going to go. I don't want any ground coverage underneath the houses because I've already placed it on the base itself. So the masking tape just helps me know where I'm going to be putting the foliage. So it's the same again. I'm just using a bit of PVA glue all over this area, and then I'll just sprinkle on the various tufts and grasses. If you're not comfortable doing this with hand, you can get shakers and things like that to help sprinkle these fine grasses on your area. But they're all well and good, but yeah, I think you get more control just doing it with your fingertips, but it can be very messy, of course. Now on the road surface itself, I'm just adding a tiny amount of debris on it, so a little bit of wood chipping and things like that. Not all over, just tiny amounts to break up that surface. Then once that's done, it's time to place on the first structure. So the houses are going in first, and I'm giving that a good quantity of PVA glue. And then I'll simply just press that into the base and leave it to set. Now don't be tempted to use super glue for this, because if you decide that you don't like the area that you placed them on, after all, you'll still have time to change it. I've done it before myself, where I've used super glue, put them down, thought actually no, I don't like them there, but it's too late because it sets almost immediately. The thing with PVA glue is you have lots of time to move them around if you wish. So I've taken another piece of the placement mat, the bamboo placement mat, and I just cut that a little bit off, and I'm going to be placing that all over the drainage trough thing and up to the steps to form a path. And then I'll paint the mat with Humbrol's 110 natural wood colour. I will be weathering this once it all dries, but that's not until most things are in place. So now is to add a bit of foliage. So I've got some spiky plants here. Now these are plastic. They come with the similar ones with the palm trees and things that I got for the diorama. Now these are too large for what I need, so what I'm doing is I'm just cutting off the individual leaves and using that instead of one big massive clump. And I'll use a little bit of super glue to attach them, and I'm just placing these in front of the house in random areas. And I'll be across the two houses. I'll just tip this up so that you can have a little look of it there. So next is to add a little bit more foliage along the grass verge. So these are the little patch of the turf that have the adhesive backing. And again, I'm just placing these at random points. And as I'm placing, you can actually see the diorama really starting to take shape now. I'll just turn it around so that the camera can pick it up a little bit better. I've also decided to add a little bit of lichen to the tops of the roof, again in random patterns, just place it on with a bit of PVA glue in various locations. Next I've got some plastic bamboo, and I'm going to be placing this in between the two houses. Again, it's all one length, and I'm going to be cutting this down various lengths so to give it a more natural look. And I'll place quite a few little plants in here to give the illusion of a thick, dense jungle behind the houses. So you can see it there, it's all crammed in, all pushed in. Just turn it around again so that you can have a look. Now I was in two minds whether to do this or not, whether it'll look too much, but in the end I kept it. I sort of like the look of it. I know it looks a bit cramped, but I think it looks all right. Now it's back to the rear of the diorama, and I'm going to be placing on just various bits of plant matter, the plastic plants and so on. Now you're not really going to see much of this when it's in place, but it's better than just having it be a bit of painted board. So if you do walk around it, you will see something else, something different as well. Many a time I've seen people do it, and with myself included, forgetting about the back end of a diorama, just having, say, a block colour put in and not giving much thought to the detail. But if you do happen to glance the often not seen side, it does let the diorama down quite a lot. So it's a good idea just to put something in there, even if it's just a little one or two parts, just to break it up and make it look more natural. Of course, it all depends on what resources you have. If you run out of resources, then leave it, of course, but you may want to allow it, because it really does let the diorama down if you do miss it out. So while I'm doing this is where I'll end part 16. If you haven't done so already, why don't you jump over to the channel and have a look at my other builds. There's a few things up there, various dioramas, ships, planes, sci-fi, armor, all that sort of stuff. Give me a shout if there's something that you would like to see, and I'll see what I can do. Subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you'll be kept up to date, not only with this build but all my future builds as well, of course. Hit the like button, don't be afraid to leave a comment, and of course you can share the video. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.